Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us on CoreTV Primetime News. I am Frank Omalape at Top Stories Now. Thank you for joining us. Now, the Code of Conduct Tribunal adjourned the sitting of the 12th Senate President Bukola Saraki indefinitely after a star witness for the prosecution failed to show up at the court. Saraki's trial was on May 25th, adjourned to Wednesday for the cross-examination of the witness, Michael Wekas, to continue. Its tribunal chairman Danladi Umaru said the adjournment was to give the court time to hear other cases. The prosecution and defense teams also said the break would allow them prepare their cases better. And now the challenge of housing in Africa's urban low-income communities is one that will be overcome by Nigeria and every African country by aligning with the African Union 2063 agenda. This alignment, according to President Muhammadu Buhari, is needed to ensure that Nigeria achieves the target of 1 million housing units per annum to bridge the housing gap. Our correspondent, Kozim Kasali, has the details. We'll bring you the report in our subsequent bulletins. Stakeholders in the judiciary are conversing an easy flow of information between the media and the third arm of government to enable journalists covering it get proper information. This is one issue raised at a Legal and Media Practitioners Forum in Abuja with a focus on reporting court proceedings. Our judiciary correspondent Basilo Kafo has the details.
Judiciary correspondents are oftentimes find it difficult to obtain information from judges, especially during court proceedings and when judgment is delivered on a particular case. But stakeholders in the sector are arguing that journalists covering the third arm of the government are to be blamed in the case of misinformation on court proceedings. As they advocate for free flow of information, the lawyers, however, task judiciary correspondents on bracing up with proper reportage of court proceedings to avoid breaching the law on sedition and libel.
Talking to ourselves as members of the same family, you tell me my lapses as a judge, and I tell you my lapses as reporters who should report exactly what is there, not personal view.
Participants at the event are calling on the authorities in the justice sector to organize constant training for judiciary correspondents in order for them not to misinform the public while carrying out their professional responsibility.
Journalism that is incorrect, that has falsehood, that misrepresents the true position, particularly when it comes to court proceedings, because that can send wrong signals to the society and to the public.
Anybody who goes out of his way to disparage the integrity of the courts or to reduce the estimation in the eyes of right-thinking members of society, or to seriously scandalize anybody without looking at the background facts, the person opens himself up, or the institution opens itself up to a contempt of court proceedings.
Media professionals are also being charged on the need to always uphold the ethics guiding their profession. Basil Okafo, CoreTV News, Abuja.
A bill for an act to amend the National Lottery Act has passed the second reading in the Senate. The bill, which seeks to make provisions for effective operation of Lottery in Nigeria, is being presented by Dino Melaye, representing Kogi West. He says lottery earnings have the capacity to enrich Nigeria, as billions of naira is lost annually from non-remittance of government's dues. Our correspondent Jamila Fegua reports. Away from there now, the National Assembly Joint Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission and NDDC has issued bench warrants on 7 oil companies operating in the Niger Delta region. This warrant was issued for failure to appear before a public hearing to defend themselves for alleged non-remittance of the statutory funds to the Commission for the Development of the region. The lawmakers have accused the management of NDDC of not keeping accurate financial records with remittances from oil companies, which has robbed the Commission of funds to executive projects in the region. The position of the Joint Committee was as a result of revelations from some oil companies that had made frantic efforts to meet with the management of the NDDC to reconcile their account with the Commission and settle the necessary outstandings. And our House of Representatives Committee on Industry, Trade and Investment is pledging its support to efforts aimed at boosting the training capacity of the Industrial Training Fund, ITF. The committee, led by its chairman, Abubakar Mariki, during an inspection tour to ITF skills training centers in Lagos, further recognizes the need for an intervention to further enable the body achieve its objectives. Correspondent Akiobakeye has more.
The Industrial Training Fund, saddled with the responsibilities of providing skill acquisition and training for Nigerian youths, have been faced with challenges, making it difficult to deliver well on its mandate.
We are pleading with the chairman, sir, and members of this committee to please assist us in ensuring that the laws are enforced in those government organizations that have to assist ITF makes its mandate a success.
The House of Reps, however, recognizes the need for an intervention to boost ITF's operations.
We will make sure that all necessary support is being given to them to make sure that, first of all, the IGR they draw or the IGR they generate is judiciously used, is judiciously utilized, is utilized for the promotion and provision of necessary skills.
Is there any way I can just move into the net and say, okay, where can I get a carpenter, a trained carpenter by ITF that is very proximal to my home?
In appreciation of the move by the federal lawmakers, the Acting Director General of the ITF expresses satisfaction at the promise of the committee while assuring of a robust operation to increase skill learning across the country.
We have come up with a number of training interventions and initiatives and strategies which we believe that will help to be able to reduce unemployment, create jobs, and even address the cases of insecurity in our land.
The visit also affords the committee a tour of the facility.
After they must have finished the work there.
How long does it take?
It takes within the period of 2 to 3 months again.
Stakeholders are hopeful that the visit of the House Committee will impact greatly on ITF to better function in order to bridge the unemployment gap in the country. Akin Obakeye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And now the House of Representatives has witnessed another defection as 2 members of the People's Democratic Party are leaving the party for the All Progressive Congress. However, the leading opposition party in the House of Representatives, the PDP, says there is no basis for the defection as the party is not factionalized as claimed by the defectors. National Assembly correspondent Emmanuel Ehejina reports proceeding in this report. Well, we'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletins. The crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party assumes a new dimension as the party's board of trustees says it has taken over the leadership of the party pending the resolution of the leadership tussle in the fold. The chairman of the board, Walid Jibril, announced that both the party's National Working Committee, led by former Governor Alimodu Sharif, and the Interim National Caretaker Committee, led by former Governor Ahmed McCarthy, have been sacked. According to the BOT Secretary, Ojo Maduekwe, it says the Board of Trustees intervened because of litigation surrounding the National Caretaker Committee set up in Port Harcourt on May 21 at its national convention. Meanwhile, earlier today, 27 PDP House of Representatives members have defected to APC on the floor of the House. And now the House of Representatives is set to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the remote cause of the recent attack by alleged herdsmen on Okeako community in Ekiti State. This followed a motion of urgent public importance entitled "The Fatal Invasion of Okeako Ekiti Community by Suspected Herdsmen," sponsored by Emmanuel Agbola of Ekiti PDP. Supporting the motion, the House directed the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, to deploy police personnel to affected areas to avert likely reprisal attacks. The lawmakers further urged the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to send relief materials to the affected communities. To some security matters now, troops of the Nigerian Army have rescued 247 captives from the Boko Haram sect in Borno State. The acting director, Army Public Relations Sani Usman, says the captives were rescued by the troops of the 81 Battalion, the 251 Task Force Battalion and 25 Task Force Brigade. The rescued persons have been screened and interrogated to ascertain their true status. Furthermore, the screening exercise was also conducted to ascertain the movement to the camp for internally displaced persons for rehabilitation. However, one soldier sustained a head injury in an encounter with the insurgents at Motu, while 5 Boko Haram members were killed. Meanwhile, Chief of Defense Staff General Gabriel Olonishaki is reaffirming the commitment of the military to intensify its offensive in the Sambisa forest until the area is completely rid of terrorists. Speaking at the inauguration of some project in Lagos, Olonishaki said the Operation Crackdown recently launched into Sambisa is yielding positive results. It says Boko Haram has been decimated, adding that it had become increasingly difficult for the insurgents to carry out their nefarious acts. The Chief of Defense Staff said the military will continue to step their game with the multinational task force. And now the Niger Delta Avengers in the early hours of Wednesday broke through the heavy military presence in the Niger Delta region, blowing up 2 vital Chevron oil wells in Warri North local government area of Delta State. Report says the incident occurred around 3:44 a.m. near Egbema, an Ijaw enclave in Warri North. The affected pipelines were identified as Chevron BB Oil, well RMP 23 and RMP. It was gathered that Chevron noticed the incident at about 4 a.m. following a drop in pressure during production, leading to heavy spillage in the creeks. It said a team of engineers have been sent to assess the level of damage and stop further spread of the spillage. In the meantime, the Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole has called on the Niger Delta Avengers to stop the ongoing vandalization of oil installations in the region. He also urged the military to give President Muhammadu Buhari time to address the developmental challenges across the country. Oshiomhole made the appeal after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Aso Rock Villa. Our State House correspondent Abiola Oluwole has more on the story.
The recent resurgence of militancy in the Niger Delta region of the country is a major security threat, hampering investment in oil-rich region of the country. Niger Delta Avengers have been claiming responsibility for bombings of oil pipelines in that part of the country. Speaking with journalists after a meeting with President Buhari, Edo State Governor identified years-long corruption as the cause of underdevelopment in the region.
These are issues which this president is dealing with. I mean, the issues of corruption. Corruption explains the gap between, huge allocations and contracts awarded, and the reality that even with the benefits of Torchlight, you can't find those things on ground. They are not stolen by foreigners. Those are the things perpetrated even by our own people.
Considering the level of the impact of the pipelines on the environment, the governor says the support of the Niger Delta people is required for the success of the current administration.
The costs of cleaning up that area and making it attractive, whether for fishing, for farming, for any other business, it's a huge, huge cost. Cost not just in terms of naira and kobo, course, in terms of time, and even in terms of human life.
The resurgence of militancy in the Niger Delta region of the country remains a source of concern to the federal government. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Abiola Oluwole reporting for CoreTV News.
Also lending its voice to condemn the act of Niger Delta Avenger is some prominent leaders of the Niger Delta region under the aegis of concerned Niger Delta leaders, which have described the recent attacks on the nation's oil facilities by the Niger Delta Avengers as a criminal act targeted at destroying the collective heritage of the people of the region. The national coordinator of the group, Chief Mike Loyibo, said during a press conference in Abuja that the acts perpetrated by the group, the NDA, were unacceptable not only to the federal government but also to the people of the area. The leaders called on the group to lay down their arms as no developmental efforts could yield any positive result in an environment of violence. However, the group urged the military to carry out the ongoing operation with caution without the use of military force to solve problems that could be preferred to dialogue for a lasting solution on the issue. And now the group known as the Niger Delta Savages have made peace and treaties to the federal government in tackling the fundamental problems in the Niger Delta. Speaking during a meeting with military authorities on ways of solving the present crisis, the Niger Delta Savages movement says the federal government should tread on the path of peace and use non-violence approach in tackling the fundamental problem of the Niger Delta area. Lamenting the poor infrastructure in the Niger Delta area, the group is asking for exclusion of the entire Niger Delta from the national electricity grid. It has also called on the federal government to ensure the involvement of the grassroots people and the oil-producing Niger Delta region, as well as establishing the frameworks to empower stakeholders in terms of exploration, drilling and trading of oil and gas products. Listing solution to some problems facing the Niger Delta, the Savages government should ensure that all multinationals are made to meet up with their corporate social responsibilities, and local contact acts should be enacted to ensure that indigenes make up at least 40% of skilled and unskilled labor force of the companies. You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. Still to come after the break, Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello says his administration is up and to investigate the root cause of problem around the state. We'll bring you more details after this time out.
VAT, Value Added Tax, is a tax paid on all goods and services and remitted by the seller of the goods or provider of the service to government. 5% VAT is added to the total cost of goods and services in Nigeria, and when remitted to government is used for funding development. The VAT you pay will be used by government to develop our transport infrastructure like roads and railway lines, to continually improve our educational sector by building more schools and upgrading existing ones, to provide adequate security and a better quality of life for us all. Pay your VAT. Make your contributions to the development of Nigeria. It pays to pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
If you just join us, you're watching CoreTV Primetime News, broadcasting live from our Lagos studios. A reminder of our top stories now. On our social media platforms is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow at CoreTV News NG. Subscribe now to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space. The news. And our largest State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello says his administration has set up an investigative panel to unravel the cause of the crisis that claimed 4 lives in the Pando Gari area of the state. Bello stated this while briefing State House correspondent after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari.
The global fall in oil price has been having negative impacts on governance across states in the country. The shortfall in revenue due to states is making it impossible, with most state governments unable to pay salaries of workers, talk less of completing old or embarking on new developmental projects. While governments explore ways of dealing with the issue, Niger State Governor says reduction in the monthly allocation due to his state is making it expedient for him to meet labor leaders on how best to tackle the salary issue.
We haven't resolved to pay half salaries, but what we have saying from January of this year, we have been borrowing money from banks to augment whatever we get from our PAC. As of this month, we're owing almost 3 billion. If we continue like this, by December, we'll be owing 10 billion. So I said we should go back to the table. Of course, we can't give what we don't have, but we're facing difficult times now. Let's sit down and see what can we do.
He maintains that an investigative panel has been instituted to unravel the cause of the Pando Gere crisis.
I have since instituted the investigation panel, and I've asked them to investigate what really happened so that we can address the situation. But I believe at the moment the deputy governor is there with my team. The situation is calm now.
The governor also says he is in the Aso Rock Villa to congratulate President Buhari on his 1 year in office. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Abiola Oluwole reporting for CoreTV News.
Families of victims of the 2012 Dana plane crash, which claimed the lives of 153 passengers, are demanding the immediate release of the final report of the crash by the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA. Addressing journalists in Abuja on the occasion of the 4th anniversary of the crash, the chairman of the families of the victims, Paul Okulehi, also appealed to the federal government to compel the management of Dana Air to complete the payment of compensation to the affected families. The family further stressed the need for the federal government through its regulatory agencies to ensure that only airworthy aircrafts are allowed to operate in the nation's airspace. Niger State Governor Abubakar Bello says it has become impossible for him to pay the salaries of workers in his state. Governor Bello disclosed this while addressing State House correspondents shortly after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari behind closed doors at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He says his government has been borrowing from banks since January to augment whatever came to the state in form of federal allocation. The governor said as of May ending, his government was in debt to the tune of 3 billion naira, pointing out that if the trend continues to December, his state debt profile will have risen to 10 billion naira. And our government workers in Ondo State have begun an indefinite strike over the payment of their 5-month salaries. The workers fully complied with the strike as all state government offices in West State were locked and the offices vicinity deserted. The state chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Bosedi Daramola, disclosed that the workers at the state were in serious financial crisis, pointing out that most of them could no longer sustain their financial obligations to their immediate families. Daramola said they were ready to dialogue with the government but would not resume work until government fulfilled its promise. And academic activities are now on hold in Taraba State as the state wing of the Nigerian Union of Teachers has embarked on a 3-day warning strike. The action, according to the union, is taken to press home the demands of teachers for a better working condition in the state. Correspondent Udwa Godwin has more.
Students and pupils of primary and post-primary schools in Taraba State were expected to resume their studies after the long democracy holidays, but that did not come to be as the students were asked to return home due to the absence of their teachers. The teachers are on the strike following the inability of the state government to pay the salaries of primary and post-primary school teachers in the state. They are agitating for unpaid arrears of salaries, lack of implementation of promotions of teachers, non-renovation of schools in the state, outstanding balance of minimum wage of primary school teachers, among others.
It was also resolved that after the 3-day warning strike, if nothing tangible is done to address our demands, teachers shall embark on a full-blown indefinite strike action.
The state government, for its part, discloses that measures are placed to curtail the situation.
His Excellency is concerned about teachers in the case of March particularly, because actually every other person has been paid. States have been paid, local governments have been paid.
It will be recalled that the union suspended its strike action in December 2015 when the state government intervened and made promises to look into their demands with a view of addressing it. But the union says the strike will be a full-blown one if their demands are not met. Udwa Godwin, CoreTV News, Jalingo.
And of the National Association of Nigerian Students, the Ekiti State Chapter has dissociated itself from the protests against the striking workers in the state. The leader of the students, Body Shina Awopeju, says the White understands the harsh economic situation of the state and are appealing to Governor Ayodele Fauci to pay the striking workers. Adeleke Olagbami tells us more in this report presented from our studios.
The students say it is wrong for any student to protest against their parents.
We all share understanding with the governor over the little amounts coming into the state as federal allocation. But we refuse to agree with the governor that 5 months allocation is not enough to pay at least 1 or 2 months' salary of the workers in the state. The governor should present evidence that he has not received salaries and security votes in the last 5 months. The parents have been finding it difficult to cater for the upkeep of their wards in the face of the present economic hardship the nation is experiencing.
Speaking further, the students affirm that it is now so difficult for their parents to cater for them in the face of the present situation of unpaid salaries.
That Mr. Governor has descended so low in his ideological thinking to have subjected himself again to call for Nigeria, to call the first group under the student body to go and protest against their parents. Does that mean that if someone is given money to go and cause his parents at home, would this guy go ahead and cause their parents? It is highly irksome, it is highly annoying, and it is highly bad.
I want to appeal to Mr. Governor that he should find the salary, any means to source for the salary of these teachers that are on strike.
Recall that on Tuesday, some artisans, including members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, commercial motorcycle operators, and some youths who claim to be students had staged a protest rally against the ongoing industrial action in Ekiti State. However, the industrial action continued unhindered Wednesday as the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC leaders and the striking workers had said they will not resume until their salary is paid.
Storm has wreaked havoc in Shandam local government area of Plateau State. Several houses, a mini stadium and a police station were among facilities that the storms rendered inhabitable. A Plateau State correspondent reports.
This is the aftermath of the heavy rainstorm that recently hit Shandam local government area of Plateau State. Schools, churches, a mini stadium and police posts are now a shadow of itself. The management committee chairman of Shandam local government area described the situation as a very sad development.
Yes, it is quite sad, like you said, the experience we woke up with yesterday, the rainstorm. We did on the spot assessment of the situation. Given the fact that times are really hard, as a council, we will try as much as possible to see how we can mitigate or ameliorate the sufferings that those affected will be faced.
He calls on state, federal government and other well-meaning individuals as a matter of urgency to come into rescue of the affected residents.
I want to seize this opportunity to appeal to the state government through SEMA, the federal government through NEMA, and well-meaning individuals to, as a matter of urgency, come to our aid.
Since the commencement of rainy season, storms have affected several communities in Plateau State, owing to the fact that most buildings designs have poor structures.
And our youth in Nigeria have been advised to look for positive ways of maximizing opportunities in the internet world. A chairperson of the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum, Mary Uduma, gave this indication at a youth workshop in Abuja. She calls for a synergy between stakeholders and youth in order to create job opportunities that will reduce unemployment menace in Nigeria.
The group highlighted the importance of internet in the country, adding that advent of the internet has reduced unemployment drastically. She, however, used the opportunity to admonish Nigerian youth to desist from negative activity on the internet.
They have a lot to benefit from the internet. Education, business, learning, research, even development. Anything that a youth wants to do can do it on the internet. Internet is here for the youth.
Though the high number of youth that engage in negative activity on the internet is on the increase, there is still room for improvement. The youth are told to seek for opportunities of diversifying the economy through communication technology.
My advice for Nigerian youth is to focus on internet and use it productively, engage themselves positively, and contribute to national development.
The information obtained will enable the youth to be at the forefront in harnessing development and bringing about a smarter Nigeria.
If you do use the internet frequently, you see that you benefit things, you get to learn stuff.
Anything that has to do with internet or communication is a benefit to everybody, whether a youth or an adult or anyone who communicates. But when it comes to internet connection, the youth are like the major people who get to use this platform.
The impressive growth in the internet in Nigeria is as a result of mobile penetration, which is affording more people access to the internet. Bukola Afeni, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Reflecting on this year's Global Day of Parenting, Nigerians are saying that communication is important in correcting a child. They believe talking things out and the home front helps more. Correspondent Victoria Solomon reports.
The Global Parents' Day is a day set aside by the United Nations to honor parents all over the world, to appreciate them for selfless commitment to their children and their lifelong sacrifice towards nurturing the relationship. Some parents believe that raising a child in a godly manner helps the child know right from wrong.
I believe in using the word of God to train up the child. But occasionally when it's our warrants, maybe scolding them by using cane, nothing stops you from it. Because the word of God says you should also, train up the child by not sparing the rod.
You have to ask your children. If you have children, they get scared of you, then they won't be able to maybe to study good in the school. You call them, advise them from childhood. Then you teach them the word of God for them not to mix with bad boys or bad guys.
I believe in raising up a child in the fear of God is the best way. And if you train them to have fear of God, that is the best way to train a child. Not beating a child anyhow or caution him, but bringing him or her in the fear of God.
Others believe that regularly engaging the child in healthy conversations is a way to go.
I started with the cane, but I do a lot of spanking. I'm still going to start with the cane very soon because my daughter is stubborn. My older daughter, she's stubborn. But I do a lot of spanking for now.
Sometimes it requires to beat a child so that the child will know the gravity of what he or she has done. Sometimes you can tell the child what you did is not good, explain why. Sometimes when you explain to children what they did, how they did, do it, when you tell them this thing they did is not right, I think they will understand.
Totally rule out spanking. We scold all the time because they are still small and then they always do what you tell them not to do. But most of the time we just scold, we tell them not to do something that is wrong. We do more of communication with them because we believe they can understand.
The Global Parents' Day is observed yearly on the 1st of June. Victoria Solomon, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You have been watching CoreTV Primetime News. Still to come after the break. 2 parliament members feared dead in the Somali suicide attacks. We'll bring you details after this timeout. Join us again.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
CoreTV News now live on all Androids.
Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
Download CoreTV News app from your Play Store. Click on the menu to see all our top stories from politics, sports, business, foreign news and live TV to watch us live on your mobile.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
You can also click on video to see all our YouTube videos. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Outside Nigeria now, Egypt says a French ship has picked up signals from the Mediterranean Sea, presumed to be from the flight recorders of the Egypt airplane that crashed last month. The Civil Aviation Ministry on Wednesday cited a statement from the committee investigating the crash as saying the vessel Lovelace was the one that received the signals. Wednesday's statement said the second ship, John Lethbridge, affiliated with the Mauritius-based deep ocean search firm, will join the search team later this week. The jet vanished from the radar while it en route from Paris to Cairo on May 19, killing all 66 passengers and crew on board. And now 3 people have been killed in 2 separate attacks on UN targets in the city of Gao in Mali. The United Nations discloses that in the first incidents, which occurred on Tuesday, a UN peacekeeper was killed by rocket fire at a UN security forces base in the eastern city, and several people were also injured in the attack. Meanwhile, in another area of Gao, 2 UN contractors were killed when unidentified assailants opened fire on them. It is, however, not immediately clear which group was behind the attack. An Ali suicide car bomber crashed his vehicle into a gate outside a hotel in the Somali capital, killing at least 10 people, including 2 members of parliament. Authorities disclosed the special forces have taken control of the hotel compound, rescuing many people inside the hotel. The attack happened shortly before the arrival of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Mogadishu. And while Al-Shabaab fighters have claimed responsibility for attack targeting Mogadishu's ambassador hotel, which is frequented by diplomats, government officials, and Somalis visiting from abroad. Now let's take a look at some sports stories now.
Power style, and that's what he delivered.
And now, interim coach Salisu Yusuf led the Super Eagles to the second win in as many games as they defeated Luxembourg 3-1 at the Stage Josie Bathi in a friendly match. 3 goals from Brown Ideye, Kelechi Iheanacho, and Odion Igalo took the shine of the lone strike from Theo Vicent for the Luxembourgs. The match was the second in 5 days for the Eagles after they defeated Mali 1-0 in France before heading to Luxembourg on Sunday. Nigeria are preparing for the 2016 World Cup qualifiers after failing to qualify for the 2018 Africa Cup of Nations. And now Manchester United target Zlatan Ibrahimovic has ruled out a return to Malmo, insisting he's too good to play league football in Sweden. The 34-year-old Sweden striker, a free agent after his Paris Saint-Germain contract expire, has been linked with United and the move to China. He told the media on Wednesday he would reveal his next club once he got tired of reading all these speculations. Ibrahimovic played for Malmo, his first club, for 1996 to 2004. Also, he played for Ajax, Juventus, Inter Milan, Barcelona and AC Milan before joining PSG in 2012. Ibrahimovic is currently with the Sweden squad for Euro 2016, which is being held in France and starts on June the 10th. You've been watching CoreTV Primetime News. Before we go, a recap of our major headline now. And as I has been tonight on CoreTV Primetime News, thank you for sharing your evening with us. I am Frank Omalape. Have a good night rest.